A damning new report from a think tank called European Values has taken aim at this channel and thousands of people who have appeared as guests on our network. The institute, which receives funding from the United States as well as other Western governments, describes them all as, quote, useful idiots. RT's Anastasia Churkina joined my colleague Neil Harvey to discuss the report.
It's a bit of a surprise for you. The RT bashing continues. Now, in this particular report, the issue is that RT's guests are having really a dig at themselves. This is a report by a think tank based in the Czech Republic called European Values. The report is called The Kremlin's Platform for Useful Idiots in the West, an overview of RT's editorial strategy and evidence of impact. Now, what this report does is neatly compile a list of basically all of RT's guests, because it features thousands of people, and it's not just, you know, a random list. Not only are there 7 categories in this report, dividing RT's guests into U.S. politicians and political figures, British politicians, European and other international politicians, writers, journalists, academics, and so on. So 7 categories, and if that wasn't enough, it also indicates the number of times each guest appeared on RT and links to some of the most relevant episodes. It's clear that this particular think tank really worked hard at watching RT here in the UK, in the States, and all around the world. It doesn't really mince its words when it comes to RT's guests. Not only is the report dubbed useful idiots, but it also calls the guests naive and oblivious to RT's intentions. So certainly something that is not being too nice to people who have chosen to come and express their opinion on our network. And here is why the report decided to really look into all this.
The purpose of this list is to identify individuals who, either due to unawareness of RT's political agenda or indeed explicit support of it, lends their names and credibility to a pseudo-news network and proxy agents of the Kremlin.
Nastya, it's pretty clear we need to start RT Anonymous. Hello, my name is Neil, and I work for RT. What else, though, are we to be ashamed about? I'm missing 1 or 2 things. What have I done? What have you done? What have we done wrong?
Well, apart from looking at all of RT's guests, of course, this wouldn't be a proper think tank report if it didn't actually try to dig at RT itself. It does say that the goal is to look at the history, agenda, and evidence of impact of the channel that they describe as, quote, pushing pro-Kremlin agenda under the guise of free speech and alternative journalism. Now, not only does this report claim to be debunking certain what it calls myths about the channel, such as being a reliable news source, saying that it's not harmful, and also goes into key points such as saying that RT's whole goal is to denigrate the West and RT is rooted in the denial of truth. We can say that some of the sponsors behind this piece is mostly private donors, but as well as Open Society, which is obviously a George Soros Foundation, the European Parliament, the U.S. Embassy in the Czech Republic, and we do know that the author has been doing some work with the Atlantic Council, which of course is known for certain anti-Russia hype. So really no surprises there. We'll have to wait and see what kind of reactions we see from all of those thousands of people who have been coming onto our channel to express their views.
RT UK's programme Going Underground was given special attention in the report. We asked host Afshin Rattansi what he thought of the mantra, useful idiots.
Amazing that reports like this are actually presumably being read by politicians and hopefully not our guests who still continue to appear. But as regards guests, the guests that they mentioned and delineate in this report, I mean, does she really think, and do politicians here and in the United States, let alone Hillary Clinton, think that Yanis Varoufakis and the former First Minister of Scotland, Alex Salmond, and the former Mayor of London, that they're just idiots, they're useful idiots? Of course they're not, and this is incredibly insulting. I mean, there is no logical consistency here, and it is, at the moment, we're joking about it a little, but of course there is a serious side. The British Foreign Secretary did this week ask democratically accountable politicians in Britain that he should decide which networks our democratically elected politicians should be allowed, should be appearing on. Now that's unprecedented. RT apparently is doing its job according to the regulator here in Britain, but not according to politicians that clearly do not want certain views being expressed and given the oxygen of publicity to the British public.
All right, here are some of the other names you might be surprised to see on the list of useful idiots. For example, Senator John McCain, a vocal critic of Russia, listed among the politicians who have appeared here on RT. In the celebrity section, for instance, is a well-known film director, Rob Reiner, though he's actually now part of an organization called the Committee to Investigate Russia. Other politicians include a U.S. Senator and former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, as well as the current American President, Donald Trump. Even former First Lady Michelle Obama, well, she got a mention as well. Now, according to the report, all of these people appeared on a program on this network called Politicking with Larry David. The problem is the famous American comedian there has never had a program on RT. Politicking has always been hosted by veteran journalist Larry King. That wasn't the only mistake, though. The think tank says it took guests' names from show descriptions of our website, which apparently led to more confusion. Take Boris Johnson, for instance. It claims he appeared on RT's News Thing comedy program. Let's show you his appearance.
To talk with someone with their finger right up the of international affairs. It's Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. Boris, welcome.
Yeah, hello there, hello.
Are we going to get a chance, Boris, to fight the Spanish before America and Russia kill us all?
Well, this whole Gibraltar business is being blown completely out of proportion.
As for genuine guests that actually did appear on our channel, we asked some of them what they thought about, well, the way they're being described as useful idiots.
The development is somehow tragic. It gets more and more aggressive across Europe, the political debates. And one of these games they are playing is they are destroying the reputation of politicians they don't like.
I don't think that it's fair to say that we are simply here as Russian stooges. I am not anti-Russian, but sometimes I'm quite critical of Russia over Syria and over the detention of political prisoners like Ildar Dudin and others.
You know, of course, everybody has their agendas, but RT, I think, has certainly not tried to constrain my expression or the expression of many other people I know work with the network.
We speak our mind, and we're critical of the West when it's appropriate, and we're critical of Russia when it's appropriate.
The reality is that as a dissident voice in the UK that only very rarely gets any airtime in the mainstream media, RT is the only place that has been providing a regular platform for what used to be dissident voices in the UK, but are now much more mainstream voices.
Well, perhaps, though, some just find it hard to leave the past behind. 70 years ago saw the start of America's so-called anti-Soviet or anti-Russian witch hunt.
Chairman J. Parnell Thomas of New Jersey opens an inquiry into possible communist penetration of the Hollywood film industry. The committee is seeking to determine if Red Party members have reached the screen with subversive propaganda.
Symbol, the leader, and the cleverest of the jackal pack, which is always found at the throat of anyone who dares to expose individual communist interests.
It's a different empire, Max, and actually we can debate to what extent they influence you.
And you're applauding what he's doing.
If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may, be a communist.
I will say, if they object, they are now carrying out the desires and ambitions of Vladimir Putin.
I think we've got a much more serious situation now on communist infiltration of the CIA.
A bloodless coup engineered by Russia with, at best, the traitorous indifference of the Republican Party and Donald John Trump. And the military apparatus of this country is about to be handed over to scum who are beholden to scum, Russian scum.
The Spanish cabinet is right now meeting to initiate the process of triggering Article 155 and suspending Catalonia's regional autonomy. Let's show you some of the very latest pictures from the round